I'm so new to the CHH space that it's like I don't really, like I said, I don't really have anything to compare it to. It's just more like, dang, God's just been taking it.
Yeah, yeah, and I definitely want to dive into that. And like I kind of wanted to do this interview, but also even just talk to you because
Yeah,
we've never spoken before, and aside from the that article we did on Rapzilla, we've like covered your songs and stuff, but
yeah.
like you're a new face in the scene that's doing great things. So I was like, I just want to talk to this guy, and that's when I messaged you on Instagram.
That was so unexpected, man. That article, I was just like, whoa. And like the fact that y'all really nailed like the point of that album. Because it's a conceptual album. And like I had even someone like Big Swiss who reviewed it,
Hmm.
and he was like at the end of it, he was like, I don't like he was a little confused. So I was like worried. I was like, I hope they understood it. And you guys were sort of pointing out things about the album that I was like, I didn't even realize. I was like, but that's how you know it's God. I was like, yeah, bro, that's crazy.
Yeah, all credit to the writer. I think it was Lewis who wrote it was the name attached
Yeah.
to it. I think that was his first article for us.
Like I said, I heard of Rapzilla before I even went to Christian. I didn't know it was like a Christian thing. I just thought it was like a media outlet
Oh, that's
before
cool.
yeah. And then all of a sudden I came to Christian and didn't know the community at all. And then I just sort of found out. I was just like, I'd like a hashtag Rapzilla just for like a hashtag. And I was like, let me actually just look up Rapzilla. And I was like, oh, bro, this is actually like like I should be tagging Rapzilla. You know what I mean? It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I feel like we probably get a lot of people that way. Oh, it's just a hip hop website, and then they come in there and they're either pleasantly surprised or they're really upset. Like, ah, dang it, these weird
Oh,
Christian rappers.
right, bro. Not no more, man.
Nah, the whole community, your peers, everyone, they're just killing it. And the music is better quality, the production is great, the message is great. And there's
Yeah.
different types of people. There's the real Jesus-y CHH. There's the real like I just want to talk to you and relate to you as a Christian type CHH, and it's all needed. All of
Right.
it's needed. It grabs a
Right.
different crowd.
Yeah, man. Yeah, bro. I'm really appreciative of the community, man. Like I think it's better than regular hip hop, to be honest. I really don't even think it's close, to be to be honest with you. I feel like Christian hip hop is undoubtedly better than regular hip hop. Like it's not even.
Yeah, you have your very high level mainstream guys that of course are like your goats or whatever, but then like
Yeah.
everything else underneath them is just like there's nothing going on. Like you turn on
Yeah.
the radio or watching a music video and there's just like it's trash.
Right. And you got those high level guys, like you said. But I'm even at the point where like the way I view like myself is I'm like, I want Christian hip hop to be those high level guys,
And
like
it's
because
close.
I feel like it's like you got like Kendrick, you got Drake, you got Cole, and then it's like those guys are untouchable, and we don't have that in the Christian space. At least that's what what people say. But for me, I'm like, that's where I'm like, I look at myself in the mirror. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna be that, to the best of my abilities. Like that's what I put the bar at as far as artistically. And so there's no like, you got those guys, but we're
Yeah.
right there. And it's like, nah, no more. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm
Yeah.
that's like my goal.
Now you're getting me excited for some of the things I want to talk about with you.
Let's go,
All right, so
man. Let's
let's
go.
all right, so officially the interview's starting. So so really your entrance to CHH was this year, like
Yeah.
your party of coming into the scene. So
Yeah.
what was this 2024 like? How has this been for you? Like, how did you just get thrust into here?
Bro, God, really, bro. I had a whole it really actually started in 2023. At the very, very end of 2023, I released Blind Faith and it went
Hmm.
viral like in November of 2023. And that was like I had my whole album planned out. I was like, I'm gonna drop Blind Faith, I'm gonna drop these other songs, and then I'm gonna drop my album, and then I'm just gonna go on my promo for
Yeah.
the album. And when Blind Faith went viral, that was my first Christian song. I changed my whole rap name. It was my first song I dropped under Cyfë the second. Went crazy. I went from 900 followers to like 10,000 in like a week. And
Jeez.
yeah, bro. And it sort of turned everything upside down. All of a sudden, like I had people reaching out to me from the community. I had to do a bunch of research because I didn't know the community, bro. Like
Hmm.
I didn't know what was acceptable, I just didn't know, bro. Like, because I had went viral on a Christian Kendrick Lamar. I was like, I'm the Christian Kendrick Lamar, and now I'm like, people are like in the Christian community, obviously they're like, nah, bro, you can't be the Christian version of anybody. But coming from where I was coming from, I didn't know there was even a CHH scene, bro. So I was just like, I'm just gonna say what I think is dope. And so I did that, and then it went viral, and then I found out about the scene. And then it was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is like there's a real community here. There's actually dope rappers here. And then I just was like I said, everything sort of got turned on its head, and I was like, all right, now I can try to reach out for some better features. Did that, and really everything was just geared towards the album that dropped in June. And like God's just been taking that, bro. Like he's been taking everything, really.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm glad you said that you did your research, because a lot of times people will kind of find their way into some community, or they go viral or whatever, and then they just like, that's it, they're there and they're completely ignorant to anything that's around. Like you see that a lot, especially in hip hop, with all these like young rappers who didn't grow up on some of the legends and be like, I'm the greatest of all time. Like,
Right.
and then they mention the legends. Oh, that guy sucks, or that guy's a nobody. It's like,
Right.
you didn't
Right.
do your research. You're only here because of them, like stuff like that.
Right, bro.
And
Right.
and even when I came into Rapzilla, I wasn't I wasn't a huge CHH fan. Like I knew the really big people. You know, I knew your Lecrae's and KB and Derek Minor, like those type of people. But I was listening to a lot of rock music, or I was covering. I was working at a Christian publication, but covering a lot of other Christian music outside of hip hop. So when I came into Rapzilla, the first thing I had to do was like, I gotta check out all these albums. I gotta check out these landmarks. I gotta go back. I gotta do the history. I went back all the way to the 80s, and I just researched, and now I'm like, I could
And
put the timeline together. But because I'm in here, and if I'm trying to be legitimate, especially as a journalist, right, I need to be able to tell the story for people who don't know the story. And
man,
and for you as a musician too, you should be able to put the pieces together of how you got to where you're at. So
man,
I think that's super dope. The other thing you mentioned, you said you changed your name. So what was your name
yeah,
before, and then how did you wind up with Cyphe the second?
yeah. So my name before was just Cyfë,
Okay.
and I had projects that I had released. Like even 2023, I had two projects I released under that name, and but I by the like that whole year, I pretty much knew though. I was just like, I got to get this music off my chest. But I was already sort of making the transition like in my regular life
Yeah.
towards God. And so I knew my music was going to change. And so, but I was really conflicted about changing my name. I'm like the Lord was telling me to change my name, but I was so new that I didn't really know if that was God or if that was like me tripping. And but I really just wanted people to, if they found me, to not find this Christian song and then be like, oh, this dude's dope, and then listen to more songs like, oh, you know what I mean? So I was
Right.
like, people were telling me, don't change your name, don't just be just Cyphe, it's cool. Because originally I was gonna be Aaron the second, because my name is just my real name is Aaron, and I
Right.
was just gonna be Aaron the second. And then like last second, I was like, I'm just gonna be Cyphe the second. But I'm really glad I did that, bro, because I didn't know all this was gonna happen, bro. I had like 13 monthly listeners like a year and a half ago, bro. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just
Dang.
like, you know, you just sort of gotta be obedient, man, when you really feel like God's talking to you. So that was just one thing I did. But yeah, it was like it was Cyphe, and now it's Cyphe the second.
Where does
Um,
the name come from?
man, so I used to be Aaron Cypher, and so
I figured it was
everyone,
something with the cipher. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, So people would just call me Cyphe. So I just changed my name to Cyphe. And then when I did my branding, I put two dots over the E
Yeah.
just to make it look cool. And technically that would say Cyphe with the E. I think it's called umlaut or something.
Yeah.
So technically I think it's Cyphe. So then some people just started calling me Cyphe. So I was just like, all right, well that's so some people call me Cyphe, some people call me Cyphe. I'm the type like I don't really care. I'm just like, hey bro, like I'm cool, you know what I mean?
I think in one of your songs, and I should have actually marked it down, but you kind of mentioned how becoming a Christian and changing your music, like your old
Mhm.
crowd may not rock with you anymore.
Yeah.
What's been the experience with that? And do you find that to actually be true?
You know what, man? I don't think it's even true, bro. I feel like when I wrote that song, I wrote it before I had made the whole my bold proclamation of
Right.
like, hey guys, I'm a Christian. And but like when I came out, like I told everybody like this is what I'm doing. I'm a Christian artist now. I'm gonna be making music that glorifies the Lord and honors him. And I got a lot of love, bro. Like, but I didn't have like a big fan base though either. So it's not
Right.
like I had a bunch of fans that were like, oh, you know what I mean? But I still think it applies in ways because I feel like, and it could have just been me projecting, was just like, oh, okay, oh, you Christian now. Like, I don't know if it's gonna hit like that.
Right.
And that's where I like looked at it as like a like a challenge. I was like, all right, I'm gonna make music about Jesus doper than like regular music. And so I was like, I think the bar you talking about is Aaron. I heard you turn Christian, man. I don't
Yeah.
know if your music gonna hit the same.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, the so for me, I feel like that could have been something internally that I was just thinking is just like Christian music don't hit as hard. But like I said, now I feel the complete opposite. I feel like Christian music hits harder
I
than.
think, yeah, I think with a lot of actual Christian artists, or actually people who hear the term Christian rapper or Christian artist, they just think the quality, they have an expectation of what it's going to sound like.
Hmm.
And maybe sometimes it is, but when you have high quality music, like you yourself are trying to create, that's undeniable to somebody who may hate God or may hate whatever, but there's no way that they're listening to that song and they're like, nah, nah, trash, trash. No, it's undeniable.
No, bro. No, bro. If you're listening to No Big Deal's album, bro, and you're telling me that that album isn't as good as any other rap album that's
I'm
out
saying,
right now, like I'm sorry, like you just don't really know rap, bro. And that's the whole thing. Like he's really speaking for the culture when he says like hip hop looking for a renaissance. Only problem is the Christians got it. He's saying like the quiet part out loud. It's like nah, bro, for real. Like that's the real. Like like my whole campaign last year was and is what got me a lot of followers was Christian rap better than mainstream rap. And
yeah.
I'm like, cause it is, bro. Like y'all don't want to acknowledge this, but like I think his album's better than Kendrick Lamar's last album. Like not even like just being honest. And that's no shade on Kendrick.
That's a compliment towards no big deal
Exactly. Exactly.
for the bar that he's setting. So so let's talk about that for a second. Like you yourself, your music, I feel like is super unique. You know, you've mentioned the Kendrick vibes. So you did the video. It's a little bit of Bone Thugs,
Yeah.
especially on one track, and a little bit of
Yeah.
fill in the blank. Like you could kind of find different pockets of things. So do you feel like the comparison game hurts you as a creative, especially when people are saying, "Oh, you're the Christian version of such and such," or you embrace that?
Bro, it's so funny, bro. I don't think the comparison thing hurts people, bro. I think it's this idea that artists have that they can't be like influenced by people. But it's funny because someone like Kendrick Lamar will blatantly sound like Tupac on a song and is viewed as like paying homage. You know what I
It's a
mean?
great point.
But then when someone else does it, it's like, oh, bro, you're ripping. And it's like, bro, the reality is every artist is heavily influenced by other artists. Like it that's just the reality, bro. Like so either you're gonna acknowledge it or you're gonna act like you're just the most original thing in the world, and that doesn't exist. Like biblically, nothing is new under the sun. So for me, I like to lean into it. I'm like, nah, bro, I'm clearly influenced by Kendrick Lamar. I'm clearly influenced by J. Cole. Every artist is clearly influenced by somebody else. So, and I think ultimately the fans don't care, bro. I think the fans, they want that kind of stuff. Like they want like a Kendrick Lamar replacement. Like it's hard for people who like Kendrick Lamar and they go listen to this and it's like, oh, bro, this is not godly at all. Like the fans want that kind of stuff. So I feel like the question should be like, is it helping God's people? Is it serving God's people or not? Because at the end of the day, like we're not doing this for our own glorification.
Yeah.
Like that's what that's about. If you're just like, oh well, I don't sound like anybody, I'm me. That's great, but at the end of the day, that's false. First of all, everybody has influence, and that's just you glorifying you. At the end of the day, we're not here to glorify us. If that's what you want to do, be a secular artist. But in this game, I
Yeah.
don't think that's the game we need to play. It's just like I'm better, I'm the best rapper, that kind of stuff. I just feel like, coming from the secular scene, bro, like I just find that weird, that energy weird. It's just like, nah, bro, like that's not the game we play here. The game we play here is we're serving in God's kingdom, and that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're filling a void for people. But also what you're doing, and I'm just speaking generally, what the artist is doing something kind of more impressive because not only are you kind of the so and so version of this, but you're doing it without being explicit, without talking crazy. And I don't know why so many things rhyme with the F word or or
Bro,
the N word or whatever that gets thrown into like every verse. You guys can't do that. Otherwise you get kicked out of the CHH club maybe.
bro.
So like you have a very limited vocabulary that you have to make do with, and it's impressive.
And there's a tasteful way to do it too. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's probably the issue people have is there's a way to sound like No Big Deal sounds like Kendrick Lamar, bro. Like in my opinion, like when the first time I heard No Big Deal, I was like, oh yeah, you're definitely influenced by Kendrick Lamar. But it's not done in an untasteful way. It's like, oh yeah, but he has his own
He has his
sound.
own thing.
Yeah, and it's just like that's just one of his influences. I think the problem people have is when you're like trying to like steal someone's entire thing, which you can easily tell when someone's trying to do that. But I think that's few and far between, bro, to be honest. Like for artists that are actually really good and putting in the work, I don't see artists out here that are just blatantly stealing other artists' stuff. Um well, I mean, I guess there is some now that I'm thinking
No, no,
about it.
no. Yeah,
But
there,
I'm
there's
thinking, I'm like, okay, wait, no, there's definitely some, but I try not to pay attention to that because
yeah.
at the end of the day, bro, like,
Just keep
and
doing you.
the- yeah, bro, at the end of the day, God exalts, bro. Like, and if God wants that to pop, that's the field we play in, man. This isn't secular music. This is Christian music, and I feel like when we're in this field, we gotta understand that God's the ultimate authority, and so if He wants to exalt that, let Him exalt that, and like that's that man's field.
Yeah. I think I don't know if you know this or not, but back in the day there used to be Christian bookstores, and in the bookstores in the music section it would say for fans of Lil Wayne, and then it would have like the Christian alternative. So it would say like
Oh
for
wow.
fans of Kendrick Lamar, and then it might say listen to Cyfë, listen to No Big Deal. For fans of Linkin Park, check out this band. So that was like something that they actually used to do, and bands and artists would kind of be like that was like a big advertising slot for them. Like, I need to make it on the poster that says for fans of Eminem or for fans of, whatever. Um, so
Dang, yeah.
so it's pretty
Yep.
funny that now like the trends on Instagram and TikTok or whatever kind of goes back to that, like who said Christian rap was trash, or I'm the Christian Kendrick Lamar or something like that. So it almost goes back to like those ads that were in the Christian bookstores 20 years ago.
Hey
Um,
man, nothing new is under the sun, bro. I
nope.
swear, it's just like, and it's funny because you said Bone Thugs earlier, and it's so funny because I remember the first time someone told me that James Joyce song sounded like Bone Thugs. When I tell you I didn't grow up on Bone Thugs, I don't know like I couldn't name you three Bone Thug songs. It's like I think a lot of times people you just end up sounding like something that
Hmm.
has existed in the past because nothing is new under the sun. So like I
Right.
didn't know that song sounded like Bone Thugs until someone like tagged me was like, "Bro, this sounds like Bone Thugs." And I was like, obviously I know about Bone Thugs and I was like, "Oh, that sort of does sound like Bone Thugs." But I
You
don't listen to
probably
Bone Thugs
picked
like,
you probably picked it up from someone else who used to listen to Bone Thugs and they
"Bro,
emulated in their music.
that's what I'm saying." So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
like it's just it's funny how some of that stuff just works.
I get a lot of Andre 3000, The Love Below project from you because of the musicality, the
Oh
just the feel.
wow.
Do you do your own production?
Bro, I wish, bro.
Okay.
I
Man,
wish I
if you
did.
just dropped that, yeah, I'd produce the whole album too. I would have been like,
That's what
bro,
everybody says, bro. Everyone
bro,
when
come on.
that's the first question people ask me, like, bro, did you produce this? I'm like, bro, if I produce this, bro, I'm just you just call me Kanye, bro, because the production on that. Shout out to Angelo Imani. Shout out to Split It. Shout out. I had a bunch of producers on this album, man. They
Okay.
just did their thing.
And they made a pretty, considering it's a bunch of different people, it's very
Yeah.
cohesive.
Thank you, man. That's I'm very, very particular on the beats and
Hmm.
like making it sound like within the same realm of things. It's a very jazzy album, and I'm really big on uh ordering, like album
The
ordering, like
sequencing.
creating a
Yeah,
exact
yeah.
sequencing. Exactly. I'm really big on that.
No, it's important because that's what takes a regular album from like a listening session to a listening experience.
Hmm.
If you can have that, like that article, you come in with the story and you go through the whole thing like a concept album. Like
Yeah,
you have to play it through. One of my big pet peeves is like skipping around. Like people are like, "Oh, so what songs did you skip?" Or like, "Which one do you skip?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? I only listen
dog,
to albums front to back. Like I
bro,
can't do that."
bro. That's like my biggest thing, bro. Is I'm like, if I'm gonna make an album, it's got to go like front to back. And that's why I'm big on like conceptual albums because, well, and I'm big on conceptual albums in the scenes. I feel like there's not a whole lot of very, very conceptual albums in
Hmm.
CHH. So, like, if you know some, please put me on because I
Okay,
don't really
I
know
got
a
you.
whole lot. But I'm really big on conceptual albums because I feel like an album needs to be a bigger experience than just a collection of songs. Even
Yeah.
if it's sequenced right. I want to feel like I'm dropped into a universe of like this is what's going on.
Well,
You know what I mean?
you know what the problem is because concept albums take time. And in the world that we're in today, when it's
Yeah.
like you got to drop a project every 4 months, you got to drop a single
Bro.
every 2 weeks, you drop an album, people listen to it and like, yo, when's the next one coming? And you're like, bro, I
Bro.
just dropped the project today. So that's why, like, when you drop when you drop a concept album, like, you got to drop a concept album that's gonna feed people for a while,
For a while.
and
That's my
people
goal
can't
with
do that.
Godchild. Is I'm like I'm letting this thing rock. I'm like, nah, this is and I have a lot of stuff up my sleeve that I'm coming with, but I'm letting this rock, bro. And I got a director's cut version of the
Okay.
album, so it's not gonna be like a deluxe with a bunch of tracks at the end. It's gonna be like the full album before I took out some songs, and so it's gonna feel same sequence and everything. Because I feel like when you do make a conceptual album, you can really, if you do it right, it can be timeless.
Yeah, yeah. And what's cool is though, every time someone comes across one of your videos or comes across something, you might be reaching a new fan for the first time. So there's
Right.
always every day there's going to be new people. I'm a new person who's listening to your music. Like I heard a
Right.
couple singles here and there, but in preparing for the interview, and I tell everybody famously, like, do not ask me what my favorite song of yours is or what
Yeah.
favorite album is, because if your album came out like 4 months ago, I might listen to it next month by the time I like get up to it with all the music I have to listen to. So like
Right.
yesterday I listened to your album twice. And that was the first time, like all the way through. And then I listened two
Hey,
more times today and I was like, okay, I'm in. Like I get it. I'm
let's
in.
go.
I'm super excited to talk to you and Like now I'm a fan, and it takes me a while to become a fan, because I just at Rapzilla, I'm getting so many submissions, I'm getting tagged and everything. So
I
like
know.
music becomes a job more so than an enjoyable experience.
Right.
So for me, it's like, okay, I listen to your project, I listen to your project, I listen to your single, and I don't get to repeat anything. So I have to be
Right.
really intentional. So I made that time for your project. Um, and I was so glad I did. So,
Hey,
and
man.
that's why, like, when I told you I really focus on sonics and like the musicality. So right when your album drops in, and even on Faith, when you're like, yeah, 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 like just doing those like little cool things, I'm just like, I love it. I love it.
Man, dude,
So
that's so dope, bro. That's so dope to hear, man. Cause you, like I said, like I feel like you're definitely a legend in this field, bro. Because you have the knowledge, you did the research. You know what I mean? So like when you say stuff like that, that's a big deal, bro. I appreciate that
no,
for real.
I mean, thank you for the kind words, but also for you, like that's your debut project in the
Yeah.
space. And like you're supposed to like only get better from here. So
Right.
that's exciting because that's a level of quality that we need. And that's going to make everybody elevate too because they're going to hear your project. They're going to hear No Big Deal's project. Tori Deshawn had a great project. Bodega too. Like all of these
Bro.
super dope projects that drop. There's a project dropping tomorrow. You're talking about concept albums.
Mm,
The artist name is Jeremiah Blejan. I'll
mm.
send you his name after. But I listened to his project today. 19 songs. Every song is like just a heavy hitter. Like no filler. You have to listen to it
No
in
filler.
order.
19 songs.
And you have to listen to it or he's been working on it for 7 years. So
Dang.
you know the work was put in. Like every
Wow.
every stem that's on that project is there with a purpose. I want to talk about specifically the punctuation on your album. All capitals, the
Bro.
space, the colon, the space. What's the reason? Let's talk about that.
Bro, you're a real one, bro. See, this is the first time someone's asked me that question. So when we talk about creating a universe, bro,
Hmm.
on an album, I think you have to create a universe. So that even goes to like the how you do the album titles and everything.
Hmm.
So for me, I was like, okay, like when you look at uh what was the album like that J. Cole did? The not the fall off. Gosh, well he did an album, bro, where he everything was just like all lowercase and there was a space between every letter. And it was
Okay.
like it was just it looked different. Like when you just go to that album, it looks different. So for me, like I was trying to create something that just looks different. So you're gonna be able to see that from all my albums. Like I'm gonna have something within the track listing that's just different. And so for me, it was like, okay, every track's going to be 2 words, and I'm going to do the colon in between just like it's a Bible verse, like it's, John
That's
1,
dope.
2,
Okay.
right? So that was that whole thing is this, it's part of the Godchild universe. So it's Godchild, 2 words with the colon in between, God, child, and then you got every thing. Or like Damn, like on Kendrick Lamar's Damn album, it was like every everything with 1 word, caps with a period at the end.
Yep.
And it was just like, so these are like my influences coming from like the secular world where I was like immersed in this kind of music. So that's like the bar for me. Like when I see people do something different and it like sets the bar, I feel like that's the bar now. It's like you can't go below that, So Kendrick is obviously one of those dudes that really, I think, set the bar as far as creating a universe around an album, creating
Hmm.
like an entire experience for me personally. And so I wanted to bring that into the Christian space, whether it was here or not. I didn't know if it was here, but I wanted to bring that. So that's what that's about, bro. But
Yeah,
I'm glad you asked that question, bro, because I feel like I don't think I've ever got that question, bro. Some people they
I
don't
knew it
even
wasn't an
notice that it's
accident.
2 words. They'll be like, "Oh, I like your song Joy." And I'm like, "It's James Joy."
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you know why I noticed this stuff specifically is because I'm a journalist and having things like that is a nightmare for me looking at bad
That's
punctuation. So like when I'm writing articles and stuff, like we spoke about no big deal. He's lowercase but with a period at the end, or indie tribe with a period at the end. So I'm writing a
yeah.
sentence about them and I have to put a period in the sentence. And then you get the little mark that says like, correct grammar. And I'm like, no, it's supposed to be
Uh,
like this. And it drives me crazy as I'm going through or putting no big deal's name in the beginning of a sentence and it capitalizes it, but I have to lowercase it because that's not his name. So if I was to write out your album and track out all the titles, I would get all the error messages that say, shouldn't be a space there, why
yeah.
is there a colon? So these things specific, effective, super effective, journalist nightmare for me. But
That's funny.
I notice them immediately because I want to edit it. Like I want to correct it. Like
Right.
that's not what your title should be.
Dude.
Or people who spell their names wrong, like on purpose, or song
Right.
titles on purpose.
Right. That's gonna be me, bro. I'm gonna be a nightmare for you, man.
I mean, I'll allow it because at least the quality is good. Like if you were a nightmare and the music was
Oh,
terrible, then I'd just be
bro.
like, I'll just avoid this guy completely and not
Yeah, bro. You're
not
like,
write
I'm
about
not
him.
writing an article about you, bro. That's just not gonna happen. That's funny, bro.
It's not worth the headache. Um, Now, what about the other artistic side? You got kind of the fashion, wearing like cool stuff.
Yeah.
You have I th I'm gonna assume it's AI artwork or a lot of
Yep.
it that you've done. So
Yeah,
like
that's AI.
what's your plan of attack for like even what you're wearing in your videos and the artwork and all that?
Yeah. The artwork was cool, man. I know a lot of people don't really like AI, but personally, I don't. As an artist, like I don't get offended by if someone uses AI. At least, that may change in the future. But for me, I was trying to create a cohesive story through the singles. So like when people who follow me from like Blind Faith, like, or if you just look at the album cover or yeah, the covers for each single, it's like this child and the back is turned. His back is turned on
Yeah.
every single one, and it's the same kind of style. So I wanted to sort of give people an idea of like, before they knew the album was called Godchild, of like this kid, and it's like, who is this kid on these songs? Like every single song, you see this kid, but his back is
Yeah.
turned, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why the album cover is just his face, and the face is very, I wanted it to look very, I don't know, like I wanted people to not know, like, but also have intrigue because I think a lot of people will look at him like, oh, that's Jesus, or they'll be like, oh, that's you or something. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so I didn't want people to know, but I wanted to change his eye colors because my eyes aren't blue. So I didn't want people to know that it was me because that's sort of the big reveal at the end is that you know the kid is me. But and then the other question was what was the other
The
question?
fashion and kind
Oh
of like
yeah.
some of the cool stuff you wear.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like fashion. I'm not in love with fashion. I think a lot of it is as I get older, I feel like it's vanity. Like it's just I feel like, but I do enjoy it a little bit. Um, I like ponchos, man. So like that's like my thing is like
You look
I
like
feel
a
like,
disciple. You look like a disciple in some of these videos.
bro, when I wear like my little turban, bro, and my hair is like curly, it's all curly and stuff, like and my beard, bro. People, bro, I hate it, but people be telling me I look like Jesus, bro, and I'm like, guys, you gotta stop, man. But
White
yeah,
Jesus or Middle Eastern Jesus?
right. I'm like, bro, how
Which
do we even know what he looks like, bro?
which
Like
one?
that's yeah, bro. Bro, I tell you, man. Or I get Bruno from Encanto with my ponchos. I don't know if you've seen
Oh
Encanto,
man, you
bro.
shouldn't have said that.
Dog. And I'm telling
I'm gonna
you,
have
I'm
to
gonna
show
go
my
viral.
kids. I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
show my kids. I was like, yeah, I know we don't talk about Bruno, but I spoke to him today.
bro. I'm telling you, I'm gonna get a green poncho. I'm telling you, it's gonna go viral. And when it does go viral, you could clip this and be like, "Oh, yep, he caught it." I'm gonna get a green poncho, and I'm gonna be like, when Bruno turned into a Christian rapper, point of view, it is gonna be me rapping, and then they're gonna be like, "What?"
Well, you got to
Gosh,
do a we don't talk about Bruno cover
bro,
dressed as Bruno.
that would be too easy. That would definitely go viral, bro. That'd be too
Or you
easy.
remix it and you put your own kind of lyrics over the
Right.
beat.
Like over the we don't talk about Bruno beat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That would be funny, bro. That would easily go viral. It's almost like, do I want to go viral for that or not?
Yeah, and then you'll be in a Disney movie. They'll be like, oh, you'll
Right.
be in the live action because now they make a live action version of everything. We're gonna
Right,
cast Cyfë
bro.
to be Bruno.
Bro, couldn't even do it, bro. I don't rock with Disney like that. Can't do it. But that's funny, man. Yeah, dude, I do like my ponchos though. That's like my thing a little bit. I try to stand out, bro. Like that's my thing is like
It's unique.
trying to be different.
Nah, no, it's dope. Because again, like I said, when I saw the Concrete Eden video, like I think you were wearing the poncho, you were rapping. Like I even
Yeah,
said, like those, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like those things stood out to me, and that's why I'm just like, who the heck is this guy?
dude.
So, I mean, it works. It
Praise
works.
God, man. That's cool, bro. Yeah, I don't shoot. That's why I say praise God. I don't even know, man. Like it's crazy. Like a year ago, like pretty much like a year ago today, bro. I didn't know. Like you could have asked me 12 months ago today, I wouldn't have known like anybody in the scene, bro. I didn't know like Lecrae. That was like it, pretty much, bro. And now, like to be a year later, to just do so much research, find out who these people are. I think I made have known Indie Tribe a little bit. Um, but just to see where God's taken my music within a scene that I didn't even really know existed, and then to be a part of it, and then to be sort of accepted in it too, man. Like I haven't really gotten a lot of hate, bro. Like I've had a lot of artists reach out to me and just show love, man, and
That's
it's
great.
really cool, man.
So you mentioned a year ago kind of making this transition. So what were your motivations or your aspirations prior to where you're at now in doing music? Like what were you trying to do with yourself?
Prior to Christian music
Yeah.
or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
ooh,
Like when you were doing other music.
man, to be honest, bro, I feel like it was when I was young, I wanted to be like the next like Jay-Z, you know what I mean? Like that was like I want to be him. But as I got older, I was like, I don't really I didn't I started to see how like celebrities moved and I started seeing like the evilness in the music industry.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't really rock with it. I don't really know if I want to be in that. But this was way before like going Christian or anything. I was just like, I don't really know, but I'm gonna do it my own way. And God just made a path for this. So what's funny is as I got a little bit older, I started being like, I I sort of wanted to be where I'm at now. Like this is sort of where I want to be. So it's like God's really got me walking out like my dreams right now, which is really crazy. I just didn't think it would ever be like this in a
Yeah.
scene, in a Christian hip hop scene,
Right. That's not something you would have predicted when you first started rapping, of course.
bro. No, but I mean,
And
having,
that working more than what you were doing before, especially.
bro, working 1,000 times more. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I always wanted to be a rapper, man. Like since I was 12, and that was like my thing, man. And I didn't know how I was gonna do it, but I knew I wasn't gonna give up. And I wanted to be authentic to myself. And when it turned into Christian music, I was like, look, this is who I am now. I just jumped out on faith. It's ironic. My first song I released was called Blind Faith, and I didn't know how big the scene was. I didn't know anything. I was just like, this is what I'm doing now, and this is what I'm doing. And then it just turned out to be in the biggest year of Christian hip hop history, and everyone starts blowing up in Christian hip hop, and it's just, I don't know, man.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was a huge year. So now kind of talking about you becoming a Christian, moving into the scene. I know and shout out to Big Swiss. I know in his interview you kind of spoke about like new age ideology that you were
hmm
messing around with before.
hmm
So from that to becoming a Christian, are there similarities in your mind? What are some stumbling points that make that seem like a good alternative?
Hmm. New age. Uh, New age. It's very, man. How do I answer this? Like, I think new age is very powerful because there's real power in it, and I've talked to a few Christians that don't quite understand because for one reason or another, but there is real power in those things. And when you experience that, that's when people stay in it because they attract money or they whatever it is, right? It doesn't really
Right.
matter what it is. Um, and that's the danger of it though, because it's not of God, man. And I think that's why we have to really combat that. And that's like my mission, I think, is really to through the music. And you're gonna see this in future projects where I really sort of I feel like we are in a spiritual war, bro, when we look at like artists like Kendrick Lamar, like he's some people don't hear it because they don't come from that, but I like came from that. So I know like when I hear somebody that's involved in it and like someone like Kendrick Lamar, I really pray for him because he is very involved in that kind of stuff. And a lot of these artists are. And I think in Christian hip hop, we have to combat that and understand that it is a spiritual war going on. Um and yeah, so I hope that answers your question a little bit.
No, yeah, and I see kind of even in your content that you put out, like you're not necessarily afraid to speak on things or talk about some issues. Like I think one of your first videos, you're speaking about Halloween and how, you don't
Yeah.
celebrate Halloween, and then there's people coming at you in the comments. It's not that deep, bro. But like
Mhm.
for you being an artist, having this platform, like you're not afraid to shy away from things that you feel are important, which
Mhm.
is important now that especially now that you have a platform.
Yeah. I think we're called to do that, man. And I think that's one thing I want to see more of in Christian hip hop. And you see it in Christian hip hop, but unfortunately it gets shunned by, certain people. I think you can see things even in the Christian space that is a little disturbing. And like I said, from someone who comes from that, like there's certain things I just don't play with anymore. And it's just like if you don't really come from that, then you wouldn't understand whether it's new age or whether it's, you're involved in gangs or whatever. Like, but when you know something, you just know something and then you know how it operates. So I think I view it as a responsibility for me to be like, hey guys, like there's a certain way that we have to conduct ourselves in the kingdom and especially being as artists. And I think I view it as a responsibility that it's something that I have to actually take very serious and know that God blessed me with a talent and um it's it's a war, bro. It's a spiritual war going on. Some people aren't gonna understand, bro, and it's gonna it people's feelings could get hurt and they do get hurt, but you're gonna see in the future, bro. I'm really not afraid to have conversations about it, um, about anything really. I feel like in this field, God exalts, and if someone isn't playing by the rules or whatever, or they're not really about God, like God's gonna handle that. So you don't really have to worry about that. But I think, when I say stuff like God is taking back music, I really mean that, and I really believe
Yeah.
that. So I think that's also going to weed out a lot of the people who are being fake in this scene, whether it's the hip hop scene or whether it's just the UC, or in just churches in general. You know what I mean? But like I said, that's not something that we really have to worry about because God's the one that's going to handle all that. We just have to do what God's calling us to do specifically. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Focus on your mission.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's what I say. That's what I tell artists and other people all the time. It's like, I'm not, I'm not worried about, or if you're worried about what someone else is doing, then you're missing out on what you're supposed to be doing. I don't care what's going on with this person, what kind of drama is there, what people have to say about how you operate. Just make sure that you're operating in excellence and doing what you're supposed to be doing and
Right.
stay on the
Right.
mission.
Right,
I-
man.
All right. Do you think that you're misunderstood in any way with your music, or do you think there's things that people misunderstand about you as an artist or as a person?
Um, yeah, I think definitely there's some misunderstandings, but I don't overthink that kind of stuff because I think when you're a public figure, you're really just you're at the mercy of other people's perception. So
Yeah.
really you're just doing your best to form a perception and that's it really. You know what I mean? Because I don't know what you think of me. Like you don't people don't even know me. People think they know me through a song, you know. But as Christians, we're not called to judge. So, hopefully if anybody does have a misconception of me, hopefully that's not judgment that you need to repent from. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
for me, I don't really focus on that. Because like I said, like you are gonna see me get a lot more outspoken as, my platform grows, God willing. And that's just gonna come with the territory. People are gonna not understand it, they're not gonna get it, but that's okay. You know what I mean? I mean, you already see it in the Kendrick Lamar videos, like when I'm like, oh, Christian Kendrick Lamar. I got a bunch of hate on that, man, but I really didn't care like at all, man. I was just like, hey, bro, like it's just marketing, man. Like when
Thanks
you
for the
check out the
engagement.
albums,
Thanks for the
yeah,
engagement.
bro. I'm like, hey, bro, like
Every person who hates on it, three people who like it will probably see it.
bro, it's like it's funny because, and I'm going off on a tangent here for a second, but it's funny because I think people are too, especially artists, they're too worried about the content and not the music. I'm the type I'm gonna worry about the music being like people could call my content corny all day. It doesn't bother me at all because I know if you go check out the album, that's really where I spent time. When I'm creating a marketing commercial, technically, I'm looking to get the best engagement. Look at the Old Spice commercials. No one's like, that's weird. Like if it's working and it's generating stuff, like, I feel like we got to be judging artists by their art and like what their art really is, which is their music. And I think content, it's just content, man. So
Yeah. Some people are the other way. Some people have really dope content, but the music's disappointing. But they know how to market themselves. So
dog.
it's that balance of finding like I need good music and I need good marketing. And it's a full-time job to do both. And not everyone can do it. And that's all right. You just work to what your strength is.
Exactly, bro. And that's the whole goes back to the misconceptions. It's like, why do we even care that much, bro? Like, do you like the dude's music or not? Like, it doesn't really, if it's not for you, it's not for you. Like, not everybody, everything is for everybody, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So you spoke on your plans kind of musically for 2025, but do you have
hmm
any other things lined up for 2025 in terms of like a tour or something crazy going on? Because I know people definitely reaching out to you now to do stuff for the new year.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I got a really big thing going on, dude. We got like a music group that I'm starting called Refuge. It's spelled REFVGE. So instead
Oh,
of the U, it's a V.
another nightmare for me. Thank you.
There you go, man. I
I
told
did
you
see
I'm
it.
going to be it. Oh, you did?
You have it tagged in your Instagram, right?
Yes,
In the
yeah.
bio.
Yeah, it's like a soft rollout just in
Right,
the
right. I
bio.
saw it.
So, and it's me, it's Way who's on the album, it's Josh who's on the album, Josh LaCroix, and then there's this really good, she's like a very like indie pop singer named Bianca Silver. She sort of reminds me of like a female Frank Ocean
Okay.
type of vibe, or like Claudia, what's her name? Whatever. Um, and the goal is to create like I love what Indie Tribe's doing, man. And I don't want to do what Indie Tribe's doing. They're a rap group. I want to I want to create something that's special like that though. Because I've always wanted to make like a group and be a part of a group, not just because I didn't make it, but to be a part of
Yeah.
it. And So it's not really a rap group, but there are two really dope rappers in me and Way, and then you got Josh LaCroix, who's like a Bryson Tiller type artist. Like he can
Yeah.
sing, he can produce, he can rap, he can sort of do it all. He's like, I think he's like a pop star. Like he's gonna blow up. Um,
So you're just like a collective of like-minded artists.
Yes, exactly. And I feel like the music that we have, bro, like I'm telling you, it's different, bro. Like it's like I think it's something that I personally haven't heard in the scene. And so how we're gonna roll that out is we're gonna roll out multiple EPs that tell the story of refuge in a light way, not like something crazy like Godchild, but it's gonna be a light
Yeah.
thread of EPs that we roll out on the first half of the year, and then I'm rolling out the deluxe version of Godchild, and then after that, we're gonna roll out the Refuge album. So it's gonna be a big year of like collaboration. I've got some big features for the director's
Nice.
cut of Godchild that are gonna come out. I got a shoe release coming out with Concrete Eden. And then I'm working with a Christian radio station out here in Colorado called Flow 1071,
Okay.
and they're one of like three major FM stations that are doing Christian hip hop in like the nation. And so I'm like the brand ambassador for them right now. And so like working with them has been crazy, just learning the radio side of things and just what they got going on. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them put their stamp in the scene a little bit as like a media outlet as well.
Do you do you have like a goal or aspiration at some point to be doing music full time? Like, do you see it going that way?
I sort of am already doing it full time. That's the crazy
Okay.
thing. It's yeah, God's blessed it where I walked away from my job in June, and
Okay.
and then I was doing it full time, but now I'm at the radio station now too. I'm doing so much, man, like cuz I'm
Okay.
doing stuff with the radio, and then I homeschool my kids. Um yeah, I don't remember what I told you, but yeah, I do the radio. I do it 3 days a week. And I'm not even really like it's really just sort of helping promote the radio station, and then going to like events and then helping them with some social media stuff, just sort of being like an ambassador around the city, representing Denver for the radio station and Christian hip hop. It's just a good fit for both of us because they need some social media help, and they don't really know any much about Christian hip hop, but they're in the space now, and so we're sort of just helping each other out. It's crazy when I heard there's only like three or something, and then in the whole, I was like, what? So there's really no Christian, because they were telling me, they were like, it's even hard to get a hold of artists because artists aren't used to like in Christian hip hop used to radio help, so they don't use the
They don't
help. They
seek
just
it. Yeah.
yeah, they don't. They're not like like worship singers, like because they have a couple worship stations and they know the drill. Like all the worship, they're sending out press kits to all them,
Yep,
you
yep,
know.
yep.
But the rappers, they don't know about the whole. I mean, I don't either. So you know what I'm saying? I'm just like we're all getting it on Instagram and TikTok and stuff,
Besides the collective, anything else in the works? I know that's a huge part of it.
bro. Big part. Do you know Brandman Sean? Have you heard of Brandman Sean? He's on
Um,
YouTube. He's a really
not
big
sure.
he's a really big marketer, and he actually markets Reach, works with Reach. Um but he's gonna help me with setting up a tour as well. Um
Nice.
yeah, like we're looking at in the summer. Um Very tentatively, we did a call the other day and he was putting me on game with some things, and he's like, yo, bro, I really think I can help you with this, and this. And I'm like, yo, bro, like if you can do that, let's do it because I really want to tour like this album. So, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a really busy year, man. You know, we got I'm gonna have a bunch of music dropping, and then once the deluxe version of the album drops, I think we're gonna do our best to do a major city tour, and then I got the next album coming. It's not gonna come next year because like I said, I'm gonna rock with Godchild for a little bit and let people really, people are still discovering that album.
Hmm.
And but like I said, the next one, man, I'm not gonna hold any punches, bro. Like Godchild was like the introduction, but the next don't be surprised, man. But you know what I mean? Like it's don't have expectations, I should say. Like there's gonna be I don't know. I'm gonna let God go with it.
That's dope. That's great to hear. All right, so what's your final word or final thought that you'd like to get across to the Rapzilla audience, to the CHH audience that might be learning about you for the first time on this interview?
Mm, my final thought, man. Man, dude, I'm just thankful, bro. Like I don't it's hard to make like some grand statement of like, oh, I'm here now or anything like that. It's really just like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like it's glory to God. And I'm thankful for today. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for anybody that listens, bro, because like I said, a year ago I didn't have any fans. And now God's just taken my platform and just gone crazy with it. And when I say God did it, I really do mean God did it, man. And I'm just being obedient to what as best as I can. I'm not perfect by any means, man, but I'm just doing the best. So I would just say glory to God, bro. And anybody that's following me on this journey, I'm gonna do my best to be as authentic as I possibly can to God's word and to you as the listener. And I'm always reachable by DM or by anything, man. Like I'm not too big for anything. So I just appreciate anybody and everybody that's riding with me in this journey.
All right, so that is Cyfë the second. Thank you, bro. That was amazing. That was super dope.
Thank you, bro, for real.